graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
Got voices in my head. Just get them out sometimes.
This is me, the explosion. Listening to Two Strangers on podcast. Bunch of douchebags.
Hello, this is Snapperpuss. You're listening to Two Strangers One Podcast. You know who else likes Two Strangers One Podcast? My mom!
A bunch of a-holes.
What kind of feeling? I'm high on believing that you're in love with me. I'm hooked on a feeling.
Well, hello and welcome to Two Strangers One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
And I'm Sketch.
And we have some great guests with us today. Of course, longtime listeners of the show will know that I'm a giant fan of the cartoon Megas XLR, the short-lived but much-loved cartoon 2004, 2005. I'm much so huge. Like, let's bring it back. Unfortunately, it's probably never ever going to happen. But we're gonna move on from that. On our show, we have one of the head writers from the show, Alain Matz, and a producer. Alain did a... What was that? Oh.
Yeah, hi, what's up?
So you guys introduce yourselves.
I already fucked it up, sorry.
That's what editing's for.
Yeah.
Podcast edit.
Editing? What's that?
Yes, I'm Alain Matz. I was the head writer of Megas XLR.
And?
Oh, are we talking about other stuff?
Well, no. Well, I was gonna for our other guest to announce herself.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You didn't even know.
I thought he was going right into Ms.3pm. I'm Jane Guritza, one of the executive producer of Ms.3pm, which Alain Matz directed.
Yeah, so Ms.3pm was a short movie that came out last year.
Yeah.
Yes.
And basically, it's a short movie that right now, on the back of the short film, you're working to turn this into a television series, and you're starting an Indiegogo.
Correct. Well, basically, here's how it all came about. Jane and I have known each other for years through working on productions, commercials, and music videos. And, I left commercial production to go actually work on Megas XLR. That was my kind of exodus. And I haven't been on a production job, an official production job since. That was my last thing, and I went to go work on Megas XLR, and but Jane and I have stayed in touch, and she, came to me and said, look, we everybody's always trying to make movies and get people to buy their movies, but the industry has changed so much with the internet now, and short films have actually a way of being seen and recognized. So why don't we make a short film? And I said, cool. And she said, I want to do something with action and a hot chick. And I said, I'm all for that. You don't have to. I was like, you don't have to break my arm to get me to get involved with that project. And it kind of started from there.
Awesome. So let's rewind the tape just a little bit. Where'd you guys grow up? Where'd you guys grow up?
Jane?
Oh, Honolulu, Hawaii.
What?
That's where I grew up.
Yeah, when I actually first met Jane, she was wearing a grass skirt and a coconut bra and fighting me for plantains.
Yeah.
Because, I obviously, with the media being the way it is, I mean, we all have these idealized ideas of what Honolulu is. And then Dog the Bounty Hunter came out. And I was like,
Oh, God.
And I was like, holy smokes. I mean,
I've never watched an episode of Dog the Bounty Hunter and thought that it was actually in Hawaii. It never looked like Hawaii to me.
Oh, yeah.
I always thought it was LA or San Diego or something.
Yeah, I obviously understand that if it's a show about a bounty hunter that's hunting down meth heads, it's obviously we're not gonna see the cream of the crop neighborhoods, but I guess it's one of those deals where you never realized what a huge problem it was, and I agree with you, Alan. It's like you don't think of it, but then when the name of the place is like Oahu Bonds or whatever, I don't remember the episode.
Yeah, it's weird to me.
And then of course the dog does his whole like pseudo bra throwing the hang loose sign and stuff like that. Like, it was like so obviously forced. Not forced, but I think he believes himself. I don't think he's lying. I just think he's delusional.
I don't know. Let's talk about the nails on that wife of his. Aren't they like? Doesn't she have to register those as a weapon? They're like 6-inch long.
Oh yeah, and well, that and the high heels and the I'm trying to think of a pleasant word. Her memories, I guess, would be. I'm trying to think of like the most politically correct word to use.
She probably doesn't need a bulletproof vest. We could put it that way.
Yeah, conceal a weapon very easily. Okay, so Alan, where'd you grow up?
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Yes.
Like our heroes, Coop and Jamie.
Very much like them.
Yeah.
Not in Jersey City, although I am very familiar with Jersey City. I grew up in a small podunk town up in northern Jersey, about 20 minutes south of the New York-New Jersey border. Up near, to those who are familiar, near Vernon Valley Action Park.
Wow, Action Park. Or as they used to call it, Traction Park.
Traction Park, or there was another one.
Class Action Park.
Yeah. Yeah. I survived pretty much all those rides, including the infamous Alpine slide.
Wow. Yeah, I think Action Park. I was, because we're a few years apart, so I think I know I went to it, but I think when I went to it, I was a little too young to get on any of the fun rides. But yeah, it was one of those. It was one of those very, very sketchy, amusement parks, and their claim to fame was to have all these like breakneck rides, which unfortunately people actually broke their necks.
Yeah. There's actually, if you go on YouTube, well, first of all, it's opening up again. It is coming back. The original owners. And I'm sure they're going to make it all safe and stupid now. But if you look on YouTube, there are actually videos there's a documentary on the old park, and it's pretty awesome to watch. It's got a lot of old footage, and it might not matter to people who never went to it. But if you ever were there, I would highly recommend watching it. Just look up Action Park on YouTube.
Yeah, because there's always like urban myths like, oh, I was there the day a guy got decapitated, or I was there when a guy's arm got ripped off. I've always had friends that had a friend that had a cousin that had a neighbor that was there the day someone, and it was always crazy things like someone's head got ripped off, or arm got taken off, and
Yeah, well, I never saw any of that, but I can say with 100% certainty that I survived gallons upon gallons of urine water.
Explain, please.
Oh.
Yeah, I would like an explanation.
Out of those sides and going to use the bathroom. They were pissing in the pools, and we were swimming in it. So, look it up.
We'll take your word for it.
Drinking it.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm from New Jersey.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I briefly lived in East Orange, New Jersey. I mean, we were talking about before the podcast, I bring up every 5 minutes that I'm from Lower East Side, Manhattan. But when I bought my first house, it was out in East Orange, New Jersey, without really checking out the neighborhood, unfortunately. So, my idea was like, oh, it's a 17-mile drive to Manhattan. Little did I know I was,
Through 40 miles of traffic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was still the same 45-minute drive. It was faster. Yeah. It was faster for me to go through Jersey through Staten Island, because there was a time while I was briefly working in Staten Island where it was quicker to drive through Jersey to get to southern Jersey to Staten Island instead of going through Manhattan and Brooklyn and such. And of course, I'm pretty sure this is groundbreaking podcasting.
Well, we are breaking the news that there's actually traffic in New Jersey. I don't think anybody knew that.
No, because the other guys from Megas XL Army, and I'm pretty sure George and Jody are also... I know Jody's definitely from, South Jersey.
Yeah.
George... I know they all went to School of Visual Arts, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's where we all met.
Oh, so you also went to School of Visual Arts?
I did.
Oh, was it under a writing program, or...
Well, we all went in under film. At some point, Jody and Chris, it all goes under film. At least it used to back when I went to the school. There was the first any sort of filmed entertainment. Everybody went in as a film student. Then at some point, Chris and Jody broke off to be animation majors. I stayed in the film department, and I majored in directing and minored in screenwriting.
So were you traveling from Jersey into Manhattan every day?
Yeah, my first year of school, my parents didn't think I'd amount to anything at school, like I said, because I was such a genius student. So for my first year of school, I actually lived at home and had to take a bus, the New Jersey Transit bus, to the Port Authority, and then subways and buses to school every day that we had class, and that took about an hour and a half each way. I managed to somehow maintain enough of a GPA where I could stay in the school. So for my second and third year, I lived in the dorms with Chris and George and all them. They had these, they rented out these apartments in the Newport complex, which was right above Jersey City by the Holland Tunnel. Mm-hmm. And I can't imagine that people who were actually paying to live in those apartments appreciated that a college was allowing students to live there, because it was a total mess. And then my fourth year, I had my own apartment in Jersey City.
So was it when were you taking a PATH train by that time? Here in Jersey City, it's usually the PATH train.
Yeah. When I was in the Newport dorms and everything, you pretty much take the PATH. You'd have to be dumb as a stump to try and drive into the city for anything.
Yeah, you couldn't.
Although I did have a station wagon, so when we were shooting films and stuff, I'd have to drive in to pick up all the film equipment, which was a blast.
And because nowadays, like I said, I lived there back in 2005, and now I love it because now the PATH train, which once again for people totally engrossed into this conversation, was the train from Jersey to New York City, and so now they've made it where that's where they put the new Prudential Center. The Jersey Devils play. And, like, you can leave the PATH train, literally walk to the Prudential Center. I mean, it's like a 5 to 10 minute walk. And it's gorgeous and it's beautiful. But don't go 5 blocks in any direction. Take that straight line, straight to the Prudential Center and right back. And it was always lovely on evenings where, like, on the nights where there was, like, a Devils game coming out, and I was already on the Jersey side, and at that time I was picking up my ex-wife. She was still my wife at the time. I'd be picking her up, and seeing the hordes and hordes of Devil fans, drunk and obnoxious and vomiting on their way back to the PATH train. It was wonderful.
Yeah, we saw some cool shit in those subway stations, man. I'll tell you.
Any giant rats?
You could pretty much go to any subway station in New York and see something great. I mean, we saw piles of trash just start moving because they were actually people. Lots of how should I say this? Gay sex. I don't know how else to say it. We saw some cool stuff. Homeless hand jobs.
I thought we were keeping it clean. Okay, well, hey, look, you want to take it there, we'll take it there.
Okay,
I told you this is gonna happen.
No, I mean, I wanted to keep it clean for our guests. If our guests decide to take it dirty, let's make it dirty. No. So
I'm not trying to make it dirty. The homeless guy was.
So when was the transition to California?
Somehow I managed to actually graduate from college, and I got the most sought-after degree in the history of education. I got a bachelor's degree in fine arts. They might as well. I think I've sneezed into a more valuable tissue because really nobody gives a damn about a bachelor's of fine arts. But I did graduate, and that was in '94, and I moved out to California because I wanted to make movies. And unless you're Woody Allen or Robert De Niro, you're not going to make a movie in New York. So I came here.
So how was the culture shock?
Well, I'll tell you what. First, they didn't have Dunkin' Donuts, which drove me nuts.
Which recently just changed. They just opened one up on Santa Monica, if I'm not mistaken.
In Santa Monica, but I'm not going there to stand in a line like it was some kind of Starbucks. It's kind of like when they opened the Johnny Rockets in Hoboken, and people were like, "There's like a line an hour and a half to get in," and I'm like, "For Johnny Rockets, that's retarded. What the hell?" So I'm gonna let the fanfare die down a little bit before I go back to before I go seek out my regular coffee with sugar jelly donuts.
But that's Hoboken.
And then what was the biggest shock to me was that I came out, it was in September, and everybody was walking around with like sweaters and jackets, and I was like, what the hell is wrong with these people? It's like 82 degrees out, and I thought they were all stupid and Hollywood and dumb, and literally within 2 months, I was like, I gotta get a big-ass jacket, I'm freezing my ass off out here. So you forget really quickly just how cold it was in New Jersey as opposed to how it was in California. But it gets cold here, man. Don't let the hot weather fool you.
Yeah.
I see, 94, like, you were probably graduating right around that time. I think there was like a huge storm like in the early part of 94. So like you just left. Go on.
In New Jersey? I moved out right after the Northridge quake, and everybody's like, what the fuck are you moving to California for? It's about to fall into the ocean. And I was like, no, I gotta go to Hollywood. I felt like that big giant Muppet in the Muppet movie, the original Muppet movie. He was like, I'm going to Hollywood. And I was like, I gotta go. And O.J. Simpson was happening at the time too. So between O.J. and earthquakes, California was a mess. But I came.
That's now when you so was the move? Did you move like along with? I and the questions I put at George, Chris, and Jody, basically just so for the 5 people that listen to the show that don't know what I'm talking about. George Christic, Jody Schaefer. Also, Jody Schaefer was the art director of Megas XLR. George Christic, co-creator, writer. Chris Pranosky, basically the head of Titmouse Studios right now. So just for people that don't know when I say George, Chris, and Jody. So you didn't move along with them, right? Or did you? Or
no.
Was it? Oh, okay. You would.
No, it was. We all kind of did it at our own pace. Mm-hmm. We had another friend who we went to film school with who actually came out here first, and he came out a couple months before I did. Then I followed. If I remember correctly, George went to San Diego first. I don't think he didn't come to L.A. first. So we were all kind of scattershot. We kind of like we moved when it was right for us to, and then wherever we ended up, however we got our foot in, we just kind of followed that.
Now, can you give us a story from your childhood? I mean, earlier, before we were actually the actual podcast, we were talking about you were giving us a distinction between nerd and geek. And the question I sent you is, can you give us something that would boost your nerd cred? But I guess I'll alter the question. Is, can you give us a story from your youth that would boost your geek cred? Okay,
well, I was the first kid I knew to have an Atari 2600.
Nice.
I did own an Omnibot 2000.
From Radio? Those are like exclusive from Radio Shack, right? Or am I confused?
Oh, the Omnibot was made by Tomy. It was I got mine at a toy store called Child's World, and it was one of the remote control robots that.
Is that the one that you could talk into the remote control and it came out the voice? Or am I totally confusing that with?
No, yeah. I think there were a few different robots that could do that. This one could. This one had a tray and it could pour drinks, and. My snowboard fell off the wall and cracked its head open.
Snowboard. Northern Jersey. Well, yeah.
Well, the snowboard came years later. I'm kind of mixing my stories here. So yeah, between an Atari and an Omnibot 2000, I think I had some. Oh, I also was one of the few people to ever own that. Remember the G.I. Joe aircraft carrier?
You were a rich kid. I hated you.
Yeah. Yes, you would have hated me.
Well, because you know what it was? My parents, even though I wasn't much of a G.I. Joe man, I was more of a Star Wars person. But my parents got me it was like a shuttle with like another shuttle that piggybacked on it. And it came on this long rolling base that you would crank the bottom and it would make the shuttle, it would make the whole docking thing kind of go from horizontal to vertical. And now my parents, I mean, even though it blatantly said G.I. Joe on the side of the package, I used that to house all my Star Wars men, all my Star Wars. I was more of a droids man, droids and aliens. I really honestly didn't care about Han Solo or Luke Skywalker. So I had. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was lucky enough to have a Millennium Falcon, but I had It's funny that you say the GI Joe aircraft because my cousin had the aircraft carrier, and I was so freaking jealous of him, just because I mean, it was gigantic.
It was, and it was expensive, and it was completely ridiculous that anybody ever made a toy like that because you couldn't put it anywhere. The thing was like 8 feet long. It was ridiculous.
Now,
but
the kids came to your house, right?
What's that?
You were always hosting the play dates. I guess would be the better. Kids were always coming to your house.
Yeah, here's I'll give you two stories, two quick little stories here. One, when I graduated from college, and I was moving to California, George and Jody and Chris and a bunch of my friends and us from the School of Visual Arts came to my house, and we took all my old toys, all of them, Star Wars, G.I. Joe, put them in a big pile in the basement, and I let them each pick what they wanted because my mom was just going to get rid of it all. So they came up with, I was just like, I'm going to leave the room. You guys figure out what the fuck you want. You can take it all. I don't care who gets what, but, she's just going to throw it all away. And so this big ceremony happened where they put everything in a pile and they drew numbers or something. I don't remember. And they each got to ransack the pile until it was all gone. And the one thing that I said they couldn't take was the aircraft carrier, which was in a box, which had been boxed back up. And my mom actually got rid of it.
Oh.
She gave it away.
Oh.
Nowadays,
the really sad part, and this is going to really either make you hate me or laugh hysterically at me, is that we actually had 2 of the aircraft carriers.
Oh my god!
Because I
That's
wouldn't
just
share
impressive.
because I wouldn't share with my brother, so my parents bought him one. She gave both of them.
Oh my!
So even though
Chris
I
died.
Let that be a lesson to you people. If you have 2, then you get none.
Yeah. So I told my friends they couldn't have it, and then my mom gave it away. So
you and your brother couldn't share a 6-foot piece of plastic.
No, we could not. And the only other thing I can think of that really solidifies my geek loser cred is that girls hated me.
Okay, that's pretty much that's a precursor.
I was a scrawny little geek, so they hated me. So hey.
Now, obviously, we mentioned GI Joes and stuff like that. Come on, there had to be a couple Transformers in that pile.
Oh yeah. Actually, my brother was bigger into Transformers than I was. But we had
younger brother?
They were a younger brother. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and lots of Transformers.
Now, one of the episodes, and the reason I bring up Transformers, one of the episodes, 2 of the episodes that you wrote for Megas, starred the great Peter Cullen, voice of Optimus.
Yep.
All right, so we're back, people. Unfortunately, we had a small technical difficulty. I was in the middle of asking a question. I guess, we'll pull back the curtain and take you guys behind the scenes. I was asking Alan about the episode that he wrote, Coup d'etat, which prominently had Frank Welker and Peter Cullen. Peter Cullen, as most people are familiar with, Optimus Prime, both the Michael Bay movies and the original G1 cartoon, and several other reiterations of the Transformers, and the voice of Toonami.
Kermit.
Thank you for clarifying.
We thank you for that.
And of course, Frank Welker, who, like I was saying a moment ago, is like a god in the animation industry. Just go on his IMDb page, and there are literally thousands of entries. And it blows your mind. Like, wow, he was in this, he was in that. Pretty much every.
It's gonna take you a while to read that list.
Yeah, it's incredible. So, Alan, I guess the question would be: did you write that episode knowing that you were going to ask these guys to do voices, or hire them to do voices, or however, was it wish fulfillment? Like, I want to meet my childhood heroes. I'm going to write this episode just so I can meet them. And did you meet them?
Oh well. Generally speaking, when we wrote an episode, we never knew who was going to be the voice. Not, from the time we started coming up with the idea for the episode to the actual recording of the episode, we never quite knew what was going to happen. So as a story would start unfolding and we'd start writing it, we would then say, hey, you know who would be cool for this? And we'd give the producer our wish list. And more often than not, they'd be like, what are you, nuts? But there were a few times where we wanted somebody so badly that we knew that we'd start writing the character around that voice, and we knew that, you know, we'd start, you know, the character's mannerisms, what they were going to do, because we were like, we really got to try and get this particular person. And if I recall, in that instance, we did know we wanted them because of the way we were creating the villains of that episode. And it was really cool to find out that we were going to get them. You know, there was at one episode we really wanted to get Ricardo Montalban, but his health was not all that good, so we couldn't get him. I don't remember what episode that was for. My personal favorite was when we got Bruce Campbell to play Magnanimous.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because more than an animation geek, I'm a horror film geek. And when we came up with the character for Magnanimous, I don't remember whose idea it was to just make him look like MODOK. But when they made him look like MODOK, it just immediately sprung to everybody that he's also kind of starting to look like Bruce Campbell. And we were like, holy shit, let's try and get Bruce Campbell. And we really never thought we would. And we did. And not only did we, he came back for another episode to reprise his character. And for me, that was the biggest geek moment for me. Unfortunately, he recorded from a remote studio in Oregon. But I got to sit in on it. And I don't know how, I mean, everybody's got their own, you know, that own person that they wish they could have been there for. But sitting in a record and listening to Bruce Campbell read lines that I wrote, and then ultimately having him say in a variety of different ways, groovy. I mean, I had the biggest boner you could imagine, and I had to keep quiet because I didn't want to ruin the recordings. But it was pretty awesome. And Frank and
Peter.
What's his name?
Peter Cohen.
You're very
Yeah, Frank and Peter, they were there. They were great. They signed DVDs for everybody. You know, they were all very grateful, and you know, they knew that we were fans. Tia Carrera did an episode, and she was totally cool, and just had a blast doing the voices. And I think that's always, you know, that was kind of the cool thing about it, is that when we had these guests come in, they all really dug what they were doing, and dug what we wrote for them to do, you know. So it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was you can't imagine how awesome that is to, you know, hear and see these people performing what you wrote and loving it.
Yeah, because the first Battle Royale was the episode with, if I'm not mistaken, it was Battle Royale with the Magnanimous character, and then it was the Return, and then my fan fiction is called The Return Again. But we'll save that for later.
And he's even more pissed off.
Yeah, well, you know, when going through a quantum singularity does that to you.
Yes, it also gives me incredible hemorrhoids.
Now, you know, and like I mentioned, like wish list. I mean, you know, I'm not gonna lie. I've written Megas XLR fan fiction. Not what's typically, you know, no slash fiction, no Jamie / Coop. Although that would be interesting. If you know, seeing that, you know, this was your sandbox. If we were able to get one more episode out of you, you know, one more, you know, once again, you know, with the wish list, is there any further adventures of Jamie, Coop, and Kiva that would that we could experience?
There are a lot. If you were to look at the list, and I'm sure we all have them. I mean, I know I still have them on the computer that I'm talking to you right now on. All the files of ideas that got rejected for whatever reason. There are nuggets of joy within them all, and any one of them could have made a fun, you know, crazy, retarded episode of Megas.
Can you tease us with one, or no? Or is that's
I had this idea once. This is just one off the top of my head, where Coop had somehow ingested an alien creature that the only way he could stop from killing him was to keep eating. And he had to eat even more than he could eat while fighting off some, something. And the episode was called The Incredible Bulk because he had to keep making himself as fat as possible. And by the end of the episode, nothing was working, and science couldn't help Coop, and he was going to die. And in the end, he goes, "Nah, screw that," and he does what Coop does, and he just goes into the bathroom and shits it out.
Well, I coincidentally, I just so happened to talk to Jody Schaefer about that particular episode.
He did?
Yeah, he told me that they were thinking of asking H. John Benjamin to do the voice
of the of
the parasite. Or am I totally offline, or am I off base, or?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't talked about Megas in years, so I don't know. But that was one episode that I always really liked. That for a variety of reasons, kind of always got put on the back burner, or just didn't. Nobody was sure of what to make of that one.
Yeah, poop joke is kind of. I mean, actually, I mean. 10 years ago, 10 years ago was a bit taboo. I think you could pull off a poop joke nowadays. Especially putting the newspaper under your arm.
It's not just a poop joke. I mean, it's poop going into a bathroom with a stack of comic books. You hear a toilet flush, and the parasite comes out dazed and confused, going, "I've seen things you would never believe." That's how I handle a shit joke.
That would have been hilarious.
So you can put that one in the list of episodes that never were, but probably could have been pretty funny.
Sir, you've added a light to my heart.
And I did it with poop.
Now, okay, so we'll transition away from Megas XLR. I mean, I could.
Well, actually, if I may ask something real quick.
Sure, go ahead.
Of course, being Toonami, I have to ask this question.
Megas XLR being part of the original Toonami lineup.
Oh, of course. What did you guys think of being on Toonami back then, and just your general thoughts on Toonami?
There was a lot of confusion going on when Megas first came out within Cartoon Network itself. In that I don't think they quite knew where to put it. We thought it was really cool being on the Toonami block because Toonami was a well-known action block, and fans liked it, and people respected it, and you knew what you were getting when you went to Toonami. But then they changed things up, and if I remember correctly, Megas got taken out of the Toonami block and put on its own, but didn't really get the promotion to let people know that. I think when we first aired, we were really happy to be on Toonami. And I think if the show stayed on Toonami, it probably would have lasted at least a little longer than it did.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I could be totally wrong about that. In which case, forget everything I just said.
Well, I don't know what you know of the current situation with Megas, but what are your thoughts on, trying to bring it back and possibly having it back, even though it seems like it's out of the realm of possibility, but what are your thoughts on trying to bring it back?
Megas was, without question, the most fun I had as a job. Mm-hmm. So I think there was a lot more to be done with Megas. I think it's a shame that it got cut short as quickly as it did. If there was to be, if somebody was going to say we're bringing Megas back and they asked me to be a part of it, I would absolutely be a part of it. It was too much fun to let just go away. Realistically, do I think that's going to happen? No. If, for no other reason it's just an old show that a network had, and, when those things kind of go away, they go away, unfortunately.
Right. And then I guess one other question I would have, and maybe my last Toonami question, so Chris doesn't wring my neck. Obviously, Toonami's back now. I don't know if you've seen the current version of Toonami, but I wanted to kind of get your thoughts. Being that Megas was a part of Toonami back in the day, what do you think of the current Toonami as it is?
I'm actually not familiar at all with it right now. So what is it like now?
It's on Adult Swim, actually.
It's
so
Saturday
one-
nights. 11:30.
11:30 to 6 a.m. Yes,
Well,
I would encourage you to check it out.
yeah. Well, I mean, if it's part of Adult Swim, then I mean, my leap of faith is going to be that it's very different from what Toonami was when Megas was on it.
Oh yes, very different.
I don't think Megas would work there. I think part of the charm of Megas was the innocence of it. As much as I love that Adult Swim type of humor for other things, I think that's fine and good. But I think it would take the charm out of what Megas was to. If it were to be involved with Toonami now and it had that sort of adult vibe to it.
Yeah.
Do you like Toonami now?
It does. He just said he doesn't watch it.
I really do like the version that it is now because I think it's more. I like the more adult version, to be honest with you.
There's more freedom.
Yeah, more freedom.
But aren't you young and stupid?
That's true. Well, see that I'm. I can't say I'm young and stupid. I'm older and I like more violence. So, like, I don't know if you've seen like anime like Dead Man Wonderland's one.
No.
Yeah. Let's put it this way. That was very violent.
Well, I'm all for violence. I just like it's. I like it for certain things, and I like other things for other things. And I think, if Megas wouldn't fit that. If Megas was a super violent, racy, raunchy cartoon, I don't think it would be as good as it was.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
No, it makes sense.
I get what you're saying.
Well, I mean, right now, just the I don't know how familiar you are with the show Attack on Titan, or it was a big manga from Japan, and they've adapted it over, and I think they adapted it knowing that they were going to put it in English and in Japanese at the same time. So that's that's their crown jewel, along with Space Dandy, which is from the creators of Cowboy Bebop. Those are and those are two of the shows that start the lineup. They start strong, and those are the two big ground shaking ones. I mean, they also have episodes of Beware the Batman, Star Wars: The Clone Wars, reruns of Samurai Jack, One Piece. A couple of the staples there. A couple of meat and potatoes. I'm not an anime fan, so not to insult my.
I only like anime when it involves tentacles and big titties.
So you like Sword
And I'm
Art
guessing
Online?
that's not on Toonami.
So you like Sword Art Online? Is that what you're saying?
But what about Megas XLR with tentacles and big titties?
Ooh.
I've seen some of that online.
Of course you have.
Of course you have.
I believe Edward Artinian drew some of it.
Yeah, he does have a pretty interesting DeviantArt page. He does have a pretty interesting. Okay, so we're gonna skew away from the cartoon and the kitty stuff, but also, it's funny how we transitioned from there was, we were talking about giant robots. In the middle, okay, we got Sasquatches. You wrote and directed Sasquatch Hunters, a movie for sci-fi.
Well, I didn't direct that. I did produce. I wrote and produced that.
Oh, okay. I guess my information was wrong. Okay. Let me see. We go from Sasquatches to Ninjas. You were also a story editor for Puka, the
Yes.
Disney Jetix series.
Yes.
Which, I'll be honest with you, I guess it was a little out of my. I'm not really the demographic for it, but I caught a few episodes online just to kind of brush myself up. And I mean, I was thoroughly entertained. It was, like I said, it didn't catch my eye when it was originally airing, but it
would have been tough to. I don't think it aired anywhere other than England.
Oh, okay. I thought
because that was a show that was made specifically by Jetix UK.
Oh, okay.
But it was produced in Canada.
So, okay, that explains why I didn't see it. I mean, I guess
it aired in the U.S.
You can see it on YouTube now if you want to watch it. It's fun. It's kind of a weird Hello Kitty with ninjas is how I describe it.
And that's the thing. We go from giant robots to Sasquatches to ninjas, and then then you did another short film called, and I just want to double check so I don't get the name wrong. The Great Central Valley Taco Tour, which is about two gentlemen. I mean, you're playing yourself, right? Is that two gentlemen looking for the
documentary sort of kinda?
Yeah, two guys who are looking for tacos looking for good tacos in the Central Valley area during a zombie apocalypse. Just casually, like, oh, there's a zombie walking in the background.
Who cares about the zombie? I want some tacos.
The tacos are that good in the Central Valley that it'll
There
take you out of your house.
Hey, I'll tell you, there ain't a whole lot of worth seeing in the Central Valley, but if you get up there, go to a taco truck.
So we go
Good
from
stuff.
giant robots, Sasquatches, ninjas, zombies, and now let's move over to hit women. Okay.
Yes.
The talk of the hour, Ms.3pm.
Yes.
The short film that you made about a year ago. Where did the idea come from? I mean, you kind of spoke about it earlier. Girls That Kick Ass. For some reason, like when you mentioned Tia Carrere doing a voice in Megas XLR, like it kind of like kick ass female. It's kind of what's the spiritual ancestor, I guess.
I guess you could go that way if you want to get all fancy.
Galactic bounty hunter to hit woman.
Yeah, well, it's Jane wanted to, and please jump in because I've been.
Yeah, I wanted to do a project with Alan for a while, and we did. Like you said, we kept in touch. I probably made you meet with me at a coffee house, and I knew I wanted to do action. The reason why I just wanted to get on this was my sister is the lead actress in it, Malia May.
Oh. Okay.
And she was just into just getting her SAG card. And, just collectively as just my whole family, I just wanted to help her. And I said, I know this great guy who I've worked with. He's a writer, director. He's already directed a slew of stuff. And I think he'd be great at it. He can put his stuff in it with my action. He loves gore and everything like that. So we met one day at a coffee house. I told him what I wanted, and he told me his version, and we kind of put it together. And he came up with some points, and redid it and edited, and he came up with something good a finished product that we liked.
Now, with Ms.3pm being your sister, I mean, was it? Did you just want to see her get beat up, or did you?
Well, I wanted her actually
really
to kick. Yeah, I wanted her to kick ass. I wanted a strong, of course, female character. And we got a little help. The lead actor is Darian Bosco of I don't know if his whole family is kind of this Filipino kind of famed. I think his brother, I don't know if you know him, his brother is Dante Bosco. He played Rufio in Hook.
Oh, okay.
So his whole family, his whole family did a movie called The Debut, and Darian was the one that played this other like rough character as well. So I wanted kind of a name actor in it. And he just finished a movie, just came out, Cesar Chavez. He was in that as well. So I kind of wanted somebody that already did some stuff. So, I wanted to surround her with, professional people, and and I knew she could pull it off, and I knew I've seen her act and a bunch of stuff as well. So.
And this was like her first acting gig after she got her SAG card. Is that? On film.
Okay. She's been doing plays and other kind of. She's been doing some web series stuff, but I mean, it hasn't come out, and I don't know. She hasn't done. They haven't finished yet, so that she's been doing with like her classmates and everything. But this is her first thing that's been on, like just everyone seeing it.
Now, were there classes in screen fighting, or was this all just learned before the film? Or
Russell, yeah.
Yeah, we had
my cousin.
Like Jane said, this is a family affair. Her cousin is like a uber black belt and works at a dojo, so he was our stunt coordinator, and he worked with her. And one of the things that I expressed to Jane, I was like, okay, I get that your sister's going to be in the movie, but can she do this kind of stuff? And she was like, yeah, sure. Okay,
Under the bus.
So we started having these fight choreography meetings, and progressively, we'd get a little crazier, and I'd tell Russell, the coordinator, he'd be like, what do you want to do? And I'd be like, I don't know what you can do, so just show me stuff. And they're doing flips and jumping over each other, and I'm like, yeah, I want that, and I could see every once in a while Millie would be like, whoa, what are you talking about, And she really pulled it together, though. We actually had a stunt double for her, but hardly had to use the double at all. We did film the double, and there are a couple shots, with certain acrobatic stunts that needed to be done, but almost every shot that made it into the movie was actually Millie doing it. It was her fighting it and blocking punches and doing everything. So we were all very proud of her and very impressed, because I couldn't have done that. I was happy to tell her what to do, but I couldn't have done it.
Anyone get hurt on set?
Not badly. There were a couple, as with anything when you're doing stunts and fighting, there were some bruises, a couple punches came in too close, some fake blood in the eye, that burns a little bit apparently. But I don't think anybody really got hurt.
No, yeah.
I had an asthma attack the night after the first day of shooting. I had to take myself to the hospital to get like an asthma treatment because I'm such a pussy.
No, I mean, how do you give directions to someone that could do like a roundhouse kick to your face?
From across the room.
Yeah.
With the megaphone.
Yeah, I don't go near them. No, they were just, Russell, he was a total trooper. He also played one of the goons in the film. There was a stunt where she jumps up on a couch and wraps her legs around his neck and then swings around and flips him over. And we had to do the shot with the stunt double for part of it. But then we had Millie get up on his shoulder, and he would just like swing down and then bend back up into the first position and then swing down and bend back up to make it, just so we could get that shot of him swinging with her face clearly visible. And if you watch the behind the scenes footage, which is actually posted online, I think at some place, you just hear me keep going, do it again. And he's just like, are you fucking kidding me? So you put him through the ringer, but what you end up with is a really cool shot. And at the end of the day, that's what everybody's happy with.
I believe wrestling fans will know that as the Hurricanrana. I believe that's the name of that. Well, one of the various names of that episode of that move. Some people call it the Frankensteiner. I think it was also called the Hurricanrana. So if
we had a name for it, but I don't remember what it was. I think we just called it the neck thing.
Yeah,
we do the neck thing.
Now, for our listeners, where can we find the short online?
Well, it is on my Facebook page, and what I can do is, if it makes it easier, I can provide you with the link to put on your Facebook page.
Absolutely.
And then we can kind of just spread it out from there. I'll not only post the original film, but I can also post the behind the scenes video, which is kind of good for a laugh.
Trailer, maybe.
I can send you a link to the trailer.
Okay, so basically, what we'll do is, anyone interested, other than doing a Google search, just check out facebook.com/2strangers1podcast, all spelled out. Before we put this episode out, we'll put the links out for the original short and behind the scenes and the trailer. Why not?
Yeah, and it's on Vimeo. So if you do a search for Ms.3pm, it'll come up in a Google search. But I don't have like my official website or anything, so I'll re-link everything to you.
Now, would this be under Candyland at all, or no?
It is on the Candyland. If you go to facebook.com/Candyland Productions, it's also on there.
Candyland spelled with an I. Candi.
Yeah, wow, you really did do your research.
I'm a Facebook stalker, man. No.
You're a big stalker. Oh, don't worry.
Oh,
You're not as potent as your picture would suggest.
I keep forgetting that that's my goofy picture. That's my Rodney Dangerfield at the end of Back to School.
I think I'm going to make that my profile picture.
Yeah, that's my Curly Howard Three Stooges. I didn't catch it watching the short the first time. But I didn't realize that the voice of the radio announcer is Raj from What's Happening.
That's correct, Ernest Thomas.
How did Ernest Thomas get involved in his? been involved in the project?
Through a very roundabout sort of way. Ernest, I met when I went to a school in Burbank for editing because I got sick of shooting my own things and then not being able to edit it. Because when I went to film school back in the 90s, we cut on film. And obviously that's not how anything's done anymore, so I had to learn how to use an Avid. So I went to editing school. And in editing school, I met two people. One, my wife, and two, Ernest Thomas. One of the projects we had to work on through the real-life production class was we had to cut something that an actual client was bringing into the school. And he had brought in this sketch comedy show that he was working on with somebody and trying to develop. And they were letting the students cut the sketches. And we just kind of hit it off. I mean, I just said hi to him, and he was like, "Oh," and he loved what I cut. I don't think anything ever happened to the show, unfortunately. But I gave him my number, and he gave me his, and I was gonna kind of like follow up with him at some point. But he literally called me like 2 days later, saying that somebody needed an editor for something, and I was like, "Oh wow!" So we just kind of like developed a friendship right off the bat, and I'm very good friends with him now. And I came up with this idea to, and I suggested it to Jane. I was like, "Hey, you think I should ask Ernest if he'll like just do a voice on the thing, and we can use him as kind of like something to help, kind of a thread to kind of segue through the film and kind of tie it all together?" And she was like, "Yeah, great. See if he'll do it." And he was more than gracious. I mean, he was just like, "Of course, yeah, whatever." And so we created a character named Roger Omar based on his two most famous TV personalities. And he had a blast doing it. And he also then, I kind of like squeaked in and I was like, would you mind doing it for the taco truck movie too? And he was totally cool. He was like, "Yeah, whatever." So I've now got this character who exists in these two completely different films, but it kind of is like my universe that these movies all take place in. There's this character named Roger Omar who just always kind of, subtly in the background just kind of hints and gives information to what's going on in that universe. And he has already agreed to be in the sequel. So Roger Omar is, besides Millie May and Darian Bosco, Ernest has agreed to reprise his role in the Ms.3pm sequel.
That is awesome. I mean,
yeah.
Even though it wasn't his line, I mean, is there any way you could get him to say, "Hey, hey, hey"? Hey, hey. He would probably throw a fit, but I mean, he probably does it 1,000 times.
And obviously the big thing was his laugh. I mean, that was the Raj laugh. So we definitely got him. We recorded him doing that a couple times, and I didn't want to pressure him or anything. And if people don't get who he is, and if they don't kind of hear what he's saying in the background, that's fine. But to the people who get it and appreciate it, it was kind of like a nice thing because you don't think about what's happening too much, but then when you do, you remember how awesome it was, and it's just like you don't expect Ernest Thomas to just pop out somewhere.
Now, how much? I mean, I don't want to spoil. I'll leave it up to you. How much do you want to tell the audience about the short itself? Like, because I mean, if it's because you're looking to make this into a series, is Ms.3pm the hero? Yeah.
Well, Jane. We actually have. I won't say had. It just kind of got backburned a little bit. Another project that we were going to do after Ms.3pm, and it was going to be a feature film about geeks and losers. And we started work on that. I wrote a first draft. Jane gave me a whole bunch of notes, and then I was going to start doing another draft. And she came to me and said, we did Ms.3pm. People saw it. It is what it is. What if we now take that and expand on that, and with now that web series are growing, every website is now developing web shows and web series, and not just television, but cable also, obviously. She came to me and she was basically like, "There's a whole new forum here for a series," and she said, "What do you think about doing a Ms.3pm series?" Because somebody had already approached us about doing it as a video game.
Right.
Oh.
Which kind of surprised me. Did that surprise you?
Yes. Bridesmaids, yeah.
Yeah, because I hadn't thought about it in terms of a video game, but they were like, hey, this character could be a totally awesome video game. And we were like, sure, yeah, whatever. What were your ideas on it as a series?
Yeah, where would this take us? I mean, without throwing out any major spoilers that you had or in mind or anything, like where would we see Ms.3pm?
Basically, if you look at based on what we've got as the pilot script, it kind of takes place after the first movie, but it's a little bit of a reboot also. Mm-hmm. And the idea that we're trying to go with is that Ms.3pm is the main character, and she's. I mean, it doesn't give anything away because it's in the first film already, so I mean, everybody could see it. The idea is that here's a woman who's a hit woman who is married to a police detective. Mm-hmm. So the idea for the series is now not that she's trying to keep it a secret from him, because that sort of thing's been done a billion times. I mean, and it's a formula that works, but it is a formula. So the idea that Jane and I kind of came up with is, okay, how would a hit woman and her police detective husband live together and stay married together? Like, it really is kind of a comedic, darkly comedic romance story in a way, centered around, a cop and his hit woman wife.
And people getting kicked in the face.
And lots of people get kicked in the face and blown up and their head smashed open. For me, the violence of it, Jane is always telling me that I go too indie because my violence tends to go excessive. And she always kind of has to reel me back in and say, no, you had it good, and then now you're going too far. And I'm like, no, but let's just smack his head on the floor 15 more times. And she's like, no, bring it back, you're going too crazy. And I'll be like, okay. So Jane's really good at keeping me in check for when I do want to go too far, and I take things out of the realm of even where my world should be taking place. But I think for me, what really is making it an interesting story is this idea that it is a love story between a husband and wife, and just the complete opposite ends of the spectrum that they live at professionally, and how they're going to deal with that.
Beats the hell out of being with a soccer mom.
Yeah.
And keeping it a secret from their families.
Yeah, and nobody else can know. I mean, obviously, he can't let anybody on the police department know. She can't let anybody that she has to deal with. I won't say works with, because she doesn't really work with people. She has to deal with people. Mm-hmm. They can't know that she's married to a police detective. So you just have this incredible dynamic that these two people you want to see succeed. You want to see them have a life together. And his main concerns is that, well, you're my wife. I kind of don't want you to be out there killing people and possibly getting murdered. And her thing is, I understand that, but you need to let me kind of, this is what I do. So it's an interesting cocktail of domestic relationships.
So
with guns
and blood.
So tell us about the Indiegogo. Tell us about your goals, your rewards, the plans of how making this series a reality, the rewards for the contributors. Give us the whole spiel.
Well, we have a lot of perks. Basically, we need Jane to crunch the numbers, and for a half-hour pilot episode based on what we want to do, which we think which is a fantastic script, by the way, and I'm not just saying that because I wrote it. It actually is a really fun, there's a lot of heart to it, there's good violence to it, but there's a cool story, and the characters are really dynamic, and they really play off each other well, and I think it's the kind of thing that people will want to see more of. I mean, I think it'll really hook people in. So we've got this Indiegogo page, and I think at this point there's like 24 days left on this particular campaign. We'll kind of regroup afterwards and see where it is. And Jane crunched her numbers and came up with a budget of $37,000 to do it as written, to like have the budget we need to pay the crew, to pay the locations, and do it the way we really want to do it. And that's $37,000, which, if you know anything about production, that's nothing to do a half hour.
That's craft services for a day.
$37,000 is is a lot of money to me if I had to go spend it in one shot. But if you're shooting an entire half-hour film, you're still that's still getting you a lot of stuff free. I mean, that is such a small amount of money that it's kind of ridiculous. And we're asking for people to contribute, and there are a lot of perks. And it starts from $10. I mean, every little bit helps. So even $10 is great. And we go all the way up to I think the highest one we have is I want to say $10,000.
I think it's $5.
Or is it 5 or 10?
I'm looking at the site right now. It's $10,000, which is the hit woman level.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I mean that it actually makes you actually become one of the filmmakers. You don't just get associated with us, but I mean at that level you get to give your ideas on the script and give your ideas as an executive producer and say, hey, I had an idea or I think this might work better, and we'll consider it. Everything ultimately ends up for the benefit of the film and what works overall, but we would actually take those suggestions seriously as one of the filmmakers involved with the process. Obviously, $10,000 is a lot of money. So they do start at $10, $25, $50. And, we have things that, autographed pictures of the cast and crew. There are...
shirts and hats.
Yeah, we've got shirts and hats for some of them, and they're going to be very limited edition shirts and hats because we're only going to make the amount for those particular perks. One of the perks, I believe, you'll actually receive one of the prop guns from the film. So, it might be all banged up and covered in fake blood, but it'll be pretty cool.
And signed.
Autographs from the cast and crew. And then you get into the kind of pricier ones where we're actually offering parts in the film, from being an extra to being one of the goons who actually gets to partake in the fighting and take a bullet to the face or whatever. There's a lot to be offered, and if you look through the perks, I think anybody would find something that they thought would be pretty cool, and obviously credit in the film, depending on how much the perk you purchase. You can be an associate producer all the way up to executive producer. Lots of cool stuff. I mean, if I were a film geek, it would be stuff that would interest me, and I am a film geek, so it does interest me.
And it just, you can say, for fans of indie film or fans of any of your past projects, you can say I was part of that. We all want to be part of something. You can say, even if it is just the $10, like, hey, that gallon of blood I paid for.
Yeah, and that actually, I'm glad you actually brought that up, because I was getting lost in my own babble there for a second. But what you mentioned is a good thing, and that's who we're actually looking for the most, is people who love film and are not actually involved in film but want to be involved in film. They want to say, I participated in this. Hey, check this film out that I paid for that, and look at this film that I helped get made, because a lot of those people are out there.
Yeah, and when this thing takes over the internet and goes viral and has 15 billion hits or whatever the case may be. I don't know why 15,000. That'd be good. But of course, we want more.
Oh God!
And this thing goes,
just exploding.
Yeah, it explodes. I mean, it's I'm digging it. I am so digging it, and I'm excited. Thanks. Even like. I mean, of course, Alan. Obviously, I'm a fan from the past, but I love the short. Once again, I definitely encourage our listeners to go and at least check out the short. You know what I'm saying? And then after you check out the short, take your wallet out. Go to the Indiegogo page. As of right now, I found it doing a Google search, but it's indiegogo.com/projects/ okay, so there's a couple dashes here. Ms.3pm dash.
Before you go, I can make it even easier for you, because it has a link that I can give you.
Oh, okay.
That's really easy to remember.
Okay.
And it's http / that normal or whatever. And it's igg.me. Yeah, you know what? Your boy's probably. Yeah. I totally just fucked that up.
Yeah. Okay. Indiegogo. facebook.com/projects/ms/3pm. Oh no, not slash. Excuse me. Dash. The little thing. The little dash. ms-3pm-2-series-pilot. Of course, you could always just Google search Ms.3pm Indiegogo, and I've gone on these sites, the crowdfunding sites, and what I like about Indiegogo is you actually get to keep, we're like the bigger one obviously would be Kickstarter, but Kickstarter is, if you don't make your goal, nobody, at least this, you guys are working this. And the money that's donated actually goes to the project. Yeah, there's no
and it really is a fun script. I mean, I if you enjoy the first film, you're really gonna love the second film because we're really taking it up a notch, and it's really character driven. We're really trying to hit it home because we do want it to be a series. And when we pitch this pilot, it's going to be pitched as that, not just as a sequel, but as a pilot episode. So we will be going to websites and cable and networks and whoever, and it would be something really fun for everybody to be a part of. And I thank you a lot for allowing us to talk about it.
Absolutely.
And I'll definitely be sending you a lot of links to everything so people can check it out.
And you're looking to take this to the film festival circuit also? Is that, or am I mistaken?
I don't know. That's kind of that. Jane would be better.
Yeah,
off.
I think this is more. We went that route for the short. I think we wanted to go through series, like maybe Netflix, Amazon, stuff like that. Chemical, FX2. I think they'd be great for it.
Yeah, because nowadays, that is, alternative programming. The exclusive, certain providers have their own exclusive shows, and and these things are really turning out to be wonderful, programming. It's revolutionizing. People watch, House of Cards and Orange Is the New Black.
Yeah.
Who's people. I think you watch local TV. You watch for the news, and that's about it.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I don't even know if you do that anymore. It's kind of disheartening.
As soon as Netflix offers like a local weather channel, like just bring it up real quick in local weather. I think that's the end of broadcast TV. Not that you guys would say no to CBS, ABC, or NBC.
No. Bring the money. I'll bring them the show.
Yeah.
We're open. We're open to any door that will open to us. We just got to get it made.
Yeah.
And the Indiegogo page. We'll run this campaign and then see where we stand, and then we'll do what we have to do. But it's going to be a lot of fun. It's really going to be a lot of fun. And I think, like I said, if you like the first film, you'll love the second film. And if you didn't like the first film, you're going to be really surprised by how much you do like the second film. Because, that first film was also kind of, we were trying something. We didn't know how much we'd be able to get away with the money that we did have, the time that we had. And, as with anything independent, when you're shooting on such a small budget and a small, you get all these time crunches and everything, equipment suddenly isn't available that you were hoping was going to be available, and you got to just wing it, and you make something happen. And I think both of us are still very proud of the film, and think we can, now that we know what we did, we also kind of have an idea of what we can do. Right. And it's really going to be cool. It's going to be really cool.
And I'm looking at the logo right now, and it's one of those deals where it just dawned on me that it's a shell casing with lipstick coming out of it, like a normal stick of lipstick, but with the bullet casing.
Yeah, like a lipstick for your lips, not like a dog dick.
The smoking bullet. I just caught that while I'm listening to you. I'm like I had like a weird revelation. But so is there? Would you like to let also, Alan, I'm sorry. Your whole family. It seems to be in the Alvarez Matz household. Showbiz seems to be a family affair.
We all love it.
You want to give a shout out to your kids and your lovely wife, or tell us how we can find them, or
definitely give a shout out to my beautiful, fantastic wife who puts up with so much shit from me and has more patience than any woman should. Candy Alvarez Matz. She's also on Facebook. I did, like I said, she's an editor. I met her at editing school, and she's just fantastic. She's a hustler. She makes things happen, and she's just fantastic. And she loves. She supports everything. So I mean, I really lucked out there. And then my two wonderful children, Alexia, who she's a little actress or a little diva, who she this past summer has had 2 commercials. She's actually in SAG. She's a fully registered union actress, and she's actually at dance class right now. And then our son Zachary, who he's kind of lost the acting bug. He doesn't really want to do it. He's focusing on science, but he did wrap up his career with a magazine spread for Lunchables. So he's been in a lot of magazines like Entertainment Weekly and Glamour. More than anything, they're just amazing people, and I love them, and I couldn't do what I do without them, because they really push me when I don't want to push myself anymore. So they're pretty amazing.
Yeah, which there was a picture online, and I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. The voice of Coop. Jesus, why am I?
DeLuise, David DeLuise.
David DeLuise, who then went on to do Wizards of Waverly Place. Around I mean, what kid under 15 doesn't know Wizards of Waverly Place? Then because there's a picture of like I don't know if it's both your kids or one of your kids with David DeLuise, and like, oh yeah, here's a guy that worked with Daddy a couple years ago.
We were at the Grove in Hollywood, which is like a fancy outdoor mall here in Hollywood, and I saw him, and I quickly just kind of grabbed my kids, and I was like, hey, that's the guy who did the voice of Coop. And my wife, she has no shame in anything, and will just be like, well, come on! And she'll go ask anybody for a picture, an autograph, and people love talking to her. Unlike me, people don't want to talk to me, except for you, apparently. So, she saw him, and he remembered who I was, and which I'm surprised, because I was usually in the writer's room somewhere. But he had a blast. He told us he was telling the kids how much fun he had working on that show, and he's like he sat there and he goes, I got to play Coop, who was the biggest idiot in the state of New Jersey, and he really understood the character. So it was fun. It was nice to kind of see him, and the kids got a kick out of it.
Yeah, it's but I mean, what bragging rights to it for a dad? Like, oh yeah, one of the most popular TV shows on TV. Yeah, I worked with him.
Yeah, there was a little bit of that. You get your kid to turn around and be like, holy shit, you really do know people. Like, you really have done something, And I'm like, yeah, see, I don't just make it all up. I have done things, So that was pretty cool.
All right, so is there any contact information, Facebook, Twitter, anything you want to give out to the audience? People that want to follow you, they want to follow the project. Social media rigmarole.
Well, yeah, I could spew a few things out. For the production company that my wife and I kind of work out of in terms of our editing and stuff like that is the best place to reach me at all anyway is on Facebook. How pathetic is that? But if you go to facebook.com and just look up Candyland Productions, Candyland with an I, Candi, Land, or you can just look me up, Alain Matz, Alain Matz. Obviously, anybody can reach me through your page, and that's pretty much it. And like I said, I'll send you links to the original film, the gag reel, and you've been helping push the sharing the Indiegogo link, so I'll share that again with you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I mean, I do honestly. I mean, I'm not just saying this for lip service. I do honestly believe in the project, and that's why every time I see the link, I mean, I kind of sometimes I'm like a tsetse fly. Like I remember, and then then a moment later it's gone out of my brain. But when I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, let me share that. Then I see it again, and I totally forgot about it.
We have a long way to go. We still need a lot of help to get the budget we need, but every little bit helps. So thank you for sharing it and talking to us.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
Absolutely. Jane, is there anything you want to give out to the audience, or I know some people like guys like my wonderful co-host Paul keeps all his stuff private.
Yeah. But, I'm actually pretty private, but they can reach me on Facebook as well. But most of the stuff is we're funneling it through Candyland Productions, so that's going to go through with the series as well. So just share and go through that.
Yeah,
that's the best place to go.
For the record, I just keep my Facebook private.
Oh yeah.
I was yelled at when I made Twitter private, and then I had to make it unprivate.
The demand. Tsunami fans are pretty. They're great people.
I have actually made my. I never use Twitter, but I have one, and I have an Instagram that I purposely made unprivate because nobody wants to follow me or look at me or do anything with me. So I started posting pictures of my wife in bikinis and stuff, and that's how I get followers now.
Okay, then.
How sad is that?
That's
okay,
very sad.
Very sad.
Yeah, that's a way to get followers, though.
Yeah, well, you got to do what you got to do.
But does she know about that?
She does. She has to approve the pictures.
Chris is like, "Where's the Instagram? I need to go there now."
Be back later, Alan. Looking at your wife.
It's just my name, not hard to find. There's plenty of pictures of my wife and my cats, and a couple pictures of my children.
Chris, if you can hear me, your mic is not on at all.
He seems preoccupied.
See what you did?
Maybe I should.
At Alan's pictures?
Maybe I shouldn't have mentioned my Instagram yet.
Ooh.
Oh, he's got. Oh,
there he is.
Your sound. There's no sound.
Okay, am I back now? Am I back?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. That's what happens. I was talking about cats, and I think my cat got jealous.
I know how that feels.
Because he said you have a cat named RoboCop.
Oh, shut up! You were fapping to his wife.
No, okay. So I'm going to turn off.
I think it would take him a little more time.
Oh, well, never mind.
Once
Trying
again,
to keep this PG.
Alan, James. Once again, I'm a big supporter of this project.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I want this to happen. I want this thing to work for you guys. Thank you for coming on our show. Thank you for Jane. Thank you for allowing us to geek out about Megas XLR for about half the episode.
Oh no, that's great.
It is awesome when like people that you admire, then you meet them and they're actually, so they say sometimes not to meet your heroes or not, but when you meet someone that like whose work you admire and then like, they turn out to be actually cool. It's like, there are cool people out there,
Did you just call me cool?
Yeah, you're cool, man. I mean, I'm jealous of your hair.
Achievement unlocked.
Unlocked.
I told you, my mom don't have those carriers anymore. You don't have to be my friend.
He's all right. He's all right. He's okay.
And like I mentioned before the podcast, I mean, Jane, we kind of locked horns when it came over talking about the Man of Steel.
Oh yeah. I still do like Transformers 4.
Now, did you see Ninja Turtles? Did you see the new Teenage Mutant?
Oh no, I haven't seen Megan Fox yet. No.
I do want to see that.
Well played. Megan Fox, the movie, co-starring the Ninja Turtles.
And some other shit.
And Whoopi Goldberg, for no apparent reason.
Hey, look, my mom saw Ninja Turtles. It wasn't with me. She went with my uncle, her brother. He went to go take his kids, brought my mom along. And, my mom, who's a huge fan of, like, The View, she was tickled pink that...
Well, I'm glad somebody enjoyed that.
Well, I mean, my mom likes Sister Act, for Christ's sake, so,
I mean,
not there's anything wrong with Sister Act.
Actress. It's just a pity they didn't give her more to work with.
Yeah. Well, upcoming soon, Sketch and I are going to have a debate on whether the movie was good or not. My opinion is that it was good. Besides the butchered origin story,
it was okay.
Let's not start that debate right now.
Yeah, that's next episode or
I
after
haven't seen the movie yet, so don't ruin it.
Oh, okay. So once again, thank you for coming on the show. I really, really appreciate it. Listeners, go out there, find the link online, watch the movie, break out your wallets, break out your credit cards, break out your friends' credit cards, break out your mom and dad's credit cards, and donate to this part.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christopher.
Thank you. So once again, this is Chris.
I'm Paul.
And I'm Sketch.
And our
Did we say our names again?
yeah.
I'm Jane.
And I'm Alan.
And I'm Jane.
Don't be a stranger.
Peace. We're out.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, here we go, man. Go ahead. You want to read
Double
it?
Jackpot.
What is it?
It is a self-published book by Christopher Cologne.
Chris Cologne smells good to me.
But
Look at her. That broke that fucking cold little exterior. He's like, hee.
But it is spelled Colon.
Him punny.
But Double Jackpot is a book about a comic book artist, Eric, who is in a loveless relationship with a materialistic
I feel you, Eric.
Lynette.
Oh, fucking. Are you sure I didn't write this? Sounds hauntingly familiar.
He starts cheating on his girlfriend with a more creatively supportive woman, Nadia.
Well, I gotta meet her. Where's the Nadia?
There's your summer girlfriend.
Summer Nadia is Nadia.
Nadia?
Yeah, I think Nadia spelled with an A.
All right.
Both Lynette and Nadia play the double jackpot, the largest payout in lotto history, much like the recent Powerball. Both girls play his birth date as the winning numbers. Eric is now stuck between two of the country's richest women. Who will he choose? It's not that simple. This is a clever fucking idea,
Yeah, it
man.
is.
Look at her, fucking. She's impressed.
I am.
She got some summer reading. Christopher Cologne smells real lovely with an original idea. This is. I've never heard this before.
I haven't either. This is a self-published book, much in the indie spirit as Kev's Clerks.
Oh, you don't even need to name check me. This is just a good idea. You could stand on your own, man. You don't even have to be like, hey, remember Clerks? This is nothing like that. This is way more original than Clerks. This is a good idea, man. Why didn't I think of this?
I need something to read. This book is part of the Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games Trilogy Book 2. Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, coming soon.
Right on, man. It's part of a trilogy. This is the first part.
Way to write, man.
He's seeking a literary agent. Motherfuckers, anybody out there? There ain't no literary agents listening to this show. I assure you, sure. Sure. I assure you, sure. But somebody know a literary agent? Hook a motherfucker up! Chris Cologne come up with an original idea. I should tell Raskin. That's a good fucking idea, to be honest with you. That's a fucking rom-com right there. Megan, get Raskin on the phone. Isn't it possible to get Raskin on the phone? No?
Yeah.
I want to run it past him, man. I want to, and if it happens, I get a taste, Chris Cologne. I get a whiff, if you will.
The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com.
That's lulu.com.
I understand that. I just want to spell it out.
Normally one says it that spells it. Still, lulu.com. What is that? Do you know what it is?
I don't know. All right. The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com. Search for Double Jackpot Christopher Cologne. A paperback version of the book is $15 and a PDF file is only $5.
$5 is
Yeah.
insanely inexpensive. 15's not even that bad for a paperback version.
No.
This is $1 million idea right here. Like a movie about a dude who fucking is stuck between two chicks, both of who play his birthday and win the lottery. Come on! I can see that trailer. Chris Cologne is on to something. Nobody else can smell it but me.
I'll read it.
Thank you. I'm going to make that smelly joke.
I know. You're trying to get me to laugh again.
It worked once. Double Jackpot is a self-published book by Chris Cologne, man. It's the first book in his comic books, heavy metal, video games trilogy. Book 2, Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, should be coming out soon. Get all the information at Chris Cologne, like a motherfucker.
I
and
will
his
totally
book,
read this.
Double Jackpot. I'm serious. I'm going to recommend that to fucking Raskin. How is that not a movie? You know what I'm saying? This could be a sexy movie. You could do an R-rated version. There could be nudie in it, and you could show them fucking both chicks. Maybe a little penetration. Maybe a butthole shot. No butthole, no care.
I would like to formally apologize to Christopher Cologne. Right
No,
now,
sex
but-
sells. Chris Cologne will appreciate that. He's like, thanks for throwing a few buttholes in there, man.
Don't forget to check out twostrangersonePodcast.net, your one-stop resource for everything show-related. You can find links to subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher. You could also find links to buy my book, Double Jackpot, on twostrangersonepodcast.net.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.